那这一次我们邀请的国际贵宾又有谁呢？第一位是从纽西兰到中国开披萨店的建牧羊村的，帮助超过2000名孤儿的创办人 J. Gary。第二位是香港人人学社董事 Freddie Low。第三位是泰国第一家 B 型企业执行长，也是去年就有参加过我们亚洲 B 型企业亚洲年会的代表 Security。那最后一位就是我们台湾代表最幸福的会计师事务所张宏卫。
Okay, thank you guys for coming to Taiwan and you being in Taiwan. That's important. So I just want to we have a chance to talk about what's going on internationally, and then we have a chance to talk about what's going on in different regions. And we want to zoom into Asia a little more. And so some key figures in Asia right now, we constitute 60% of the population in the world. And in Asia, there's 69% of we constitute 69% of extreme poverty in the world. And we emit 44% of carbon emission. So in Asia, it's very dynamic. That a lot of issues are happening there, a lot of populations that are related to sustainability, related to production. So it's my pleasure to introduce the panel, and it's amazing that what you guys are doing in different ways to tackle this. And Jay, we met last year. Jay found out about the Asia event, I believe, 2 weeks before, and then Jay came here, and then went back and become one of the first B Corp in Beijing, right? So if you can, just introduce yourself, let everybody know your backgrounds, and then, please.
Thanks, Corp. 大家好，我是叫 Jade，我从新西兰来的，但是我住了在中国大陆大概20多年，所以我可以算是一半中国人一半外国人吧。但是非常感谢 Corey、Tammy、David 请我今年过来，非常骄傲能代表中国。但是我有个期望是明年是一个中国人能代表中国，因为这应该是一个 Chinese movement， 不是一个外国人的 movement 在中国。这个因为跟他的那个成功度也很大关系。So my name's Jade. I'm originally from New Zealand. I've been living in China for half my life, and I've just kind of stumbled across this journey of entrepreneurship. I've got some slides which we could show somewhere. I've got some So basically, if we go back one slide, I think there's another slide before that. There we go. So press down, great. So basically, in terms of China, it's a very new movement. Okay, and the first B Corp in China was only until June last year when it was First Response got their certification. So it's been a very new movement in China, but there have been waves being made. And you can see here from here, these are the different, right now there's 5 B Corps in China. So in the last 12 months we've had 5 B Corps. And my company, Gung Ho Pizza, is one of them. So in terms of our journey, just very quickly, what is it like to become a B Corp in China? Because obviously, as you guys know, anything in China is always quite challenging, no matter what you're doing. So it's been quite a journey in that respect. So for us, we call ourselves Pizza with Purpose. And it was never my intention to start, I guess, a impact business or social enterprise. It's always been very dear to me. But I think the great thing about pizza is that it shows that any business can make a change in the world. Pizza is one of the most homogenous, basic, simple products in the world. And yet you can still make an impact, make a change. So for Gung Ho Pizza, we started off as a business that wanted to make a difference. And it started really around our engagement with our team. We became the best pizza in Beijing. We won the awards. We were very successfully, I guess, commercially. But they wanted to do something more as well. And that was where our interest in environmentalism really began. So you can see here, this is Jane Goodall. I think you'll all, oops, we go down one more. Jane Goodall, who's the founder of Roots and Shoots, the Jane Goodall Foundation, one of the world's great environmental voices. That was with her. We had an urban farm on top of our head office. We grow our own vegetables to feed our employees. This is working with children affected by AIDS. Their parents or families are affected by AIDS in China, providing support. Every year we do a clean up of the Great Wall of China. I have a small house up at the Great Wall of China. So yeah, we've always been very involved environmentally. And then as we got more into a journey, we've really got involved in the Earth Day. We created the first Earth Day festival in China, in Beijing, 2 years ago with Patagonia, with Kenji and his team, 1% for the planet. So there's always something very important to us. And then I came and met Corey, Tammy, and that was that moment of like, wow, B Corp. We finally had a structure, and that was the biggest thing that hit me. From years of stumbling in the dark in China and entrepreneurship and my own dreams and the dreams of my team, we finally had a structure which showed us the map, how to do it. And that was just a huge relief for me. It was like finally something to follow, because I felt my whole life was pioneering, and I didn't really understand how to pioneer in this field. So we became certified last year, and since then the movement has really begun in China. So Ground Zero in China, where is it at right now? Right now we have 5 B Corps in China. Okay, so we've got First Response, which does first aid training, Singbi, which is LED manufacturing. We've got People's Architecture, which is doing very innovative architecture for the good of society. And then Bottle Dream, which is the latest, last week, 2 weeks ago, and they really put change makers on the stage, online and offline. Recently, the B Corp movement has gathered momentum in China. And obviously the difference in China is that we have to work very close with the government in terms of making change in China. Nothing gets done in China without the government's support and approval, so we have to work and kind of navigate those waters. The first body of the government that's really got engaged in B Corp in China has been the academic bodies. And so we've been creating a movement through the professors who have been come out of a social enterprise kind of background and now interested to learn what B Corp is. So last year, or this year rather, we've done numerous events with Beijing University, Beijing Shifan Daxue, Renmin Daxue. A lot of these key academics are now starting to question what is B Corp and does it have a relevance in China? And that really is where it's at in terms of the movement on a larger scale. This is Beijing University. We've also been working with entrepreneurs. This is at a school called, a shared workspace called Day Up. And engaging young entrepreneurs who are really excited to take on the idea of doing an impact business. So also working with children. We're starting at a very young age. That's with Jane Goodall Institution, and working with children to explain what is an impact business. And we've got to start at a very young age. It can no longer be just business. We've got to compete with their parents and with other stakeholders who are telling them about business at a young age. We need to get them educated about what other alternatives there are at a young age. And then this is our latest, this is the online and offline community in China of B Corp. Every month we host a B Corp evening at Gung Ho Pizza. Online we have about 177 followers here on WeChat. Everybody knows in China, if you're not on WeChat, you know where. And the movement has to be done on WeChat. That's where it's happening. So we have that. I'm just going to show a very quick video. Is that going to come up? Somebody on the computer? 请帮忙一下那个视频，我们可以开始吧。So this is a very quick video of the last event we did last week. And 有声音，有音乐，可以开呗。这个对。Oh, okay, no quick time. Okay, no problem. Basically, it was an event that we hosted. The Joys Technology, all good. We hosted an event last week, and every time we get a new B Corp in China, we're hosting an event at Gung Ho. We think the movement in China is going to be an online movement. It's not going to be an offline movement. That's really where the traction, the speed, and the scale can only happen in China, is online. It's going to be driven by millennials. And so we're really gearing up the B Corp movement in China to be very much a digital social media movement. And so the offline has to happen to create community and build that sense of fellowship, but the real impact is going to be online. So just looking at where the movement's going very quickly, this is the word that comes into my mind. Is it a word? It is now. Globalize. Okay? Taking a global idea and converting it into a local movement, right? And I think with China, we saw with South America, the B-Lab model is a catalyst. It's a framework. It's not the defining structure that needs to be used going forward globally. And what works in America will not work in other markets. If we want to be taken on at a scale and a speed that is required for that market. So, although I'm here representing B Corp and as a B Corp in China, I don't believe the final model in China, if it's to succeed, will be in a B-Lab scenario or in the way in which we see it now. It's going to be very, classic China scenario where you take a good idea and you hack it to bits, you change it, you remodel it, you innovate it, and you spit something out the other side which is suitable for China and then has real value in China. And that's what's going to have to be called, in my opinion. So I'm okay with that. Because our goal is to catalyze change, to create movement. Whose logo's on it, to me, is not important. That's the ego. What's important is that we have impact in business doing as a force for good. That's what's really important. So how are we going to work with China and the Chinese government and the various stakeholders, the very powerful stakeholders, to ensure that B Corp has a future, or the ideals of B Corp has a future in China? That, to me, is the reality of working in China. So, that's kind of, the general oversight. I think in terms of speed, it's going to be incredibly fast uptake in China. We've already got hundreds of companies looking to take on B Corp. And last week, we were approached by Ofo, and you may know the bike sharing Ofo, which has taken over China with Mobike, and they just approached us last week, and they're applying to be a B Corp right now. And I think that's really exciting because any market needs a hero product, a hero brand to really hold the flag high. And in America, that could have been Patagonia. We've now got companies like Unilever. And in China, we need a hero. And Ofo is a perfect hero. It's founded by 90后.那个创业者都是90后的. So they're born in 1991, the founders. Right? Millennials. And these are guys who really understand the future of China. So, not just Ofo, but there are other young millennials who are getting involved in the movement. And they're the guys who are online going to drive it. So that's where China's at. And as I say, I really hope there's a Chinese movement and that myself or other foreigners can help nurture it, but it needs to be taken by Chinese to move forward. Thank you.
Yeah, my turn. Hello. My colleagues was preparing the presentation and asked me whether I should speak in English or 普通话 or Cantonese, and I decided to speak with pictures, so we prepared the PowerPoint. Can we switch to the Hong Kong one? I was very impressed to hear the context of a culture to start a B Corporation movement. So the context of, let's say, Taiwan is pretty much SME driven and big industrial giants. And for Korea, it's the conglomerates, state enterprise driven. And for Hong Kong, it's pretty much foreign capitalist driven. And we are one of the most successful capitalist city that in a small place that we make a lot of money. And in such a capitalism atmosphere, how are we going to promote something like B Corp? Interesting. My background, my first job was also in Google. So I was brainwashed completely that if you do no evil, you can still be a billionaire. But that only happens to those founders. So I quit and I become a social entrepreneur. So, okay, 2 years back I came across B Corp. Frankly, to be told, I met the founder back in 2009 when I was in Oxford. I was not convinced B Corp is a big deal because at that time he was saying how it could redefine capitalism. I was asking him, do you really know what capitalism means? And he said, let's see. And I say, best of luck. This is how's the way Hong Kong people do business. Practical, efficient, and money driven. So let's see, 2 years from now, Education for Good is a certified B Corp, and this let's recap what we have done for the last 2 years. I'll stand over there to be easier, and it's nicer picture here. Hong Kong B Corp movement. So first of all, I'll tell you who is in the movement, the three strategies that we have done, and the 3 things that we've learned. Education for Good believes everybody could be a change maker, including you and me, and everybody's here, including the high school student and the PhD. So we believe business is the more powerful way to change the world. So we work with businesses. We are doing advocacy, consultancy, and training, and we believe that innovation is the way that makes the society better. And if that innovation could create social value, it would be wonderful, fantastic. So we are researching about social innovation for some time, for the last 10 years, and then we were advocating policy change to the government. Also, we publish books. Some of my colleagues who bought the books here, and if you really want to get a free copy, you can find these 3 guys. You can stand up so people can see you. We are wearing the uniform of the white color, so you can find them for the copies. There's not many, so you need to be quick. We are working with NGO and the listed company for the innovation strategy, and we co-create for growth. So we have been done for some works in Hong Kong. Okay, so who is driving the B Corp movement? Social Entrepreneurship Forum started in 2008, and last 2 years we formed a task force called the B Corp Task Force. And it's supposed to promote social entrepreneurship, and it organizes social enterprise summits every year. And later on I can tell you more. So that was last year, and if you know about B Corp, you must see a book called the B Corp Handbook, and this is the writer, and we invited him as a keynote speaker last year to speak on the summit. Also, Social Entrepreneurship Forum now is focusing on the mainstream business. We want to change those people who are powerful and rich to make changes. Except that we are foreign capital driven, we are property developer driven. If you had a property in Hong Kong, you are pretty powerful to make changes. But those people only focus on money, so we are feeling very sad. 3 things, 3 strategy that we do. We first communicate, and then we promote the certificate, and we build a community. I'll explain one by one. For the communication part. So first of all, we leverage the government. We work with them to organize workshops. Using the government platform in the Chief Secretary office with a unit, efficiency unit to promote to a lot of government's department, as well as inviting influential business leader to come. Successfully, we convinced one prime property developer's 2nd generation, and one of his business unit become a B Corp as the 3rd B Corp in Hong Kong. And we invite the former government official in the task force as well. So you can see this is Bart, one of the co-founder of B Lab. Hong Kong is a small city that we love to leverage others. So we always invite great international speakers, including Koreans, later on, to come and speak to them, so we don't need to stand here to talk. Yeah, you can see the Hong Kong way. We leverage businesses. American businesses are the most powerful business in the world, and then Hong Kong's American Chamber is the largest American chambers outside the States. So we work with them to invite one of the best for the world, B Corp called Home Care Associates, the CEO coming to speak to the American business leaders in Hong Kong. As well, we working with the federal federations of Hong Kong industries to co-organize workshops. So we don't need to speak as a small consultancy firm, but leveraging on their big platform to let them speak. So this is the ArmCham in Hong Kong. We work with the NGOs, and one of the NGOs, one of the most powerful one was founded by the former chief executive of Hong Kong, the CEO of Hong Kong, called our Hong Kong Foundation. And then we are writing the policy advocacy, as well as forming business for social good unit that engage a lot of influential business leaders. We have a joke with them because they own more than 80% of the GDP in Hong Kong. And these groups of people are too powerful to be ignored. And we work with the Hong Kong women professionals. And Here was the event that we were the strategic partner, and you can see the first chief executive on the left-hand side and the current chief executive on the right-hand side. And if they are speaking for B Corp, then we need to shut up and let them speak. And we work with the cross-sector support with the Greater China B Corp Forum last year that we launched, 两岸四地公益企业论坛. And we work with the Golden Age Summit. So in case that you're interested to come in this year, November, this is the dates that you need to mark down on 7 and 8. And we invite around 10 B Corp CEO and B Lab founders and the B Lab Global, B Lab Europe. Those are our strategy to leverage the bright minds to let them speak to you. Here are those speakers from the States. One from Cornell University that he was analyzing B Corp in a case study. One is from the Harvard. So we like the big names and let them tell you why B Corp movement would be the future and how they could successfully redefine capitalism. So that was last year. You can see Marcelos, one of the founders of B Lab Europe, and you can see our founder KK Ted for 两岸四地 B Corp Forum, and Ryan Honeyman, the author. Education for Good is one of the movement driver that try to advocate why B Corp is good. So with the public support, we publish a lot of things that we don't need to tell you that in detail, but this is the book that I was talking about. It's a lot of case studies. And one of the case that we wrote is a super chef, and then he will speak. So I'll give you the stage. And we wrote about, and we translate about Patagonia, so we love you very much. And the second direction about certificates, that we encourage a lot of B Corp application. The B Corp Consulting Group is a group of consultants and professors and business executives coming together, so around 20 people, that go to the corporates and do the consultancy, help them to go through the B impact assessment. And we were helping around 20 companies. One of the fields that worth mentioning was Li Kam Ki, is the soy sauce, Li Jinji Zhangyou, which I don't know in Taiwan is it a famous one or. But they say whenever there is Chinese people, there's Li Jinji. And they were sponsoring the astronauts, the Tai Kong Ren, and they say now even the place that where no people, there's still a Li Jinji. This is how we are helping them, and this is only 3 B Corps in Hong Kong. The wave that is really worth mentioning, his owner is one of the richest family, the top 50, number 50 in the Forbes magazine in Hong Kong. And he owns around 100 buildings that owns around 10 hotels. That is one of the richest developers in Hong Kong. And the second generation support B Corp very much and force his business unit to apply for business for B impact assessment. So any they are successful. And we thought we would leverage them to speak to the business leaders at why the future would be B Corp. So going fast, the B leader course, that if you are going to my colleagues, that you receive a name card written the B leader course details here, and you can ask us for a discount code if you hold the name card. So come to take the name card. We invited 10 B Corp leaders in Hong Kong and wanted to spread the news and convince more business leaders to go for B Corp. The B leader course would be the same days with the Social Enterprise Summits, so early November. And after that, you'll get a certified as a B Corp consultant that you can go to talk to more people. Yeah. And the third direction is building the community, that we have a monthly workshop that keeps sharing about B Corp, and then we have the networking gathering. Whenever there is a B Corp certified in Hong Kong, we have a big celebration. We say, woo, that one more company changed this whole mindset and making more change. And each of the gathering, there's around 200 people coming in the wave and sharing the success of how corporate could change. Okay, so this would be the monthly newsletter. If you are interested, it's in English, and then we will send around the world. It's for free. So the 3 lessons learned we see for the communication, we are getting as much support from the government, business, NGO, cross-sector, and public as possible. So we are using the leverage as our strategy to let them speak. For the certificate, we are gaining trust and keeping voluntary assisting for corporates going through the BIA. And for the community, we will let the B Corp speak to the public instead of just we driving the movement. So these are our lessons learned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Russ. That was really, really good. I'm really into this discounts. And then the pre-sale, that's really good. Thank you, thank you. It's really wonderful that we're seeing all these different movements and different approach to build this up so that business can be engaged as a force for good. And I'd like to talk if Secretary can share about what's going on with you and introduce yourself, please.
All right, thank you. So I will be very short because I give the time to. All right, so like you know, we are just certifying. Should I move to that?
Yes,
Okay.
Yes, that's a good place to be.
It's a good pictures, right? We just certified B Corp last year, and but luckily we are the first B Corp in Thailand, but still only one B Corp in Thailand. Okay, but we are looking forward to have more B Corp in Thailand. Okay, my background is actually I worked for the Stock Exchange of Thailand before joining the social entrepreneur journey. Okay, that's asking me why. It's simple question. I asking myself why I was born. Okay, that's I would like to do like yourself, like everyone, that we would like to do something good for people, do something good for society. And at that time that I worked in the Stock Exchange of Thailand, I have worked for the listed company to promote corporate governance and to promote CSR. And luckily I learned about social enterprise model. So the way that we using the power of business as a force for good, the same way. So that by starting Nice Corp 6 years ago. Right. So I would like to promote social enterprise model and concept in Thailand. That's what we are starting with Nice Corp. And right. So we like to be good, right? We like to doing good. But the question is, how can we know that we're doing good? That's why I'm trying to search for how can we improve our social impact, how can we create social impact and improve that. So that's why I met this group of people in 2011, 6 years ago, in US. And I tried to learn from them and try to promote B Corp in Thailand. We do MOU with B Lab at that time. We try to translate B Corp guideline and assessment into Thai version at that time. And 6 years ago, it's very hard, I would say, it's still have a lot of questions. And why B Corp and why to become a B Corp at that time. Okay, so I keep moving and I have some friends to be a founding member to try to access their social impact at that time. And still moving on until 2016. Last year, we met, I found Curry here, and I would say that is a changing point, okay? And after we getting back into Thailand, I feel not, so lonely. I feel like we have a lot of friends here, a lot of friends all over the world. So please, I like to show the short video. After I have a lot of friends and a lot of knowledge here in B Corp Asia last year. Yes, just click.
Introduce B Corp in Thailand. Our plan this year is we target 100 companies to do BIA,
and we are going to be the first one.
Yay! The reason I'm here is to learn from from others and also to contribute what I learned in Thailand to others as well so that we can learn from each other.
I just want to be the change, to change the world with the power of business. That video I made last year at the event. So I just speak out that I would like to be the first B Corp in Thailand, and then so I came back to Thailand and then I tried to certify and then I got it last year. Okay, and thank you for all of you for everyone that give encouragement for us, and also for our good friend Gone Adventuring to make this video. Right. So at that conference, at that forum last year. I am forced to do this. I'm forced to do Asia timeline and give a commitment. What are you going to do for Asia movement? So I write down that I would like to be this first certified B Corp in Thailand and try to promote and launch B Corp Thailand B Corp movement. So we have been done. Yes, we did it, right? We have become the first B Corp in Thailand. And we are launched B Corp Thailand movement. So we are not lonely anymore. We got support from the Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Social Development and Human Security, and especially I'd like to thank to the university, Srinakhrin Rural University, a very good partnership to launch this event together. And a lot of supporting organizations, the big corporations, the listed company that join together today. We are not only myself, but all 16 people from Thailand here.
Can we have you stand up? Thank you.
Right. In Thailand, we have the policy international. We endorse the sufficient economy philosophy from our beloved king, and it's aligned with the endorsement of SDG Sustainable Development Goals. And I believe that B Corp would be a good tools and practical tools for us to promote the economy in Thailand to be more sustainable and to contribute to the SDG goals. Not only the SDG goal, but also we have been Thailand have been promote social enterprise model in the national wide. We call PPP Pracharat, it means public-private partnership model. The government promote the setting up of social enterprise in each country, in each provinces, 76 provinces, and ask for the collaboration from private sector to join hand with the government to build up the ventures as a social enterprise model, to be the intermediary to promote the economics and also social participations in rural areas, in the agriculture, in the local tourism, and also for promote the good income, increasing income for the rural areas. Not only the government policy and government driving, we also have good pictures of the private sectors. And right now they are committed to follow the Sustainable Development Goal as well. We have a listed company, the market capitalization, 0.4 trillion, and right now they are becoming in the sustainable stock exchange, and they have to be more sustainable. So I think that the B Corp movement would be contribute to the movement of a listed company and also the SMEs to gain more, I would say, the value for the business, for their business, and the opportunities for them to grow their business, not only inside Thailand, but also in the global market. And especially the new coming of social enterprise model, nationwide social enterprise, Pracharat PPP model, which is need I would say the impact assessment, or how they can quantify their impact assessment in the social enterprise model all over the country. So I would say that B Corp would be a good tools and a good movement for them to promote the social impact. And also not only the tools for access the social impact, but I would say that becoming the family of B Corp would be like sharing and contribution to each other and learning to each other. Yes, so I speak here on the stage that we try to promote the company or organization in Thailand to using the B Impact Assessment to know where you are in creating social impact assessment and to keep the step forward to create more. Yeah, a dream you dream alone is only a dream, right? But a dream you dream together is reality. So thank you too much for giving me a chance to share.
Thank you. It's really wonderful to see what you have done since last year. We had a chance to sit down and map the timeline of what we want to do together in Asia. And then you made it happen. So thank you very much. Thank you.
I guess I have to be there.
Yes,
then I can speak, right?
Okay. So we'll get Kenny to share about what's going on in Taiwan.
Yeah, okay. As you guys know, a lot of Taiwan, like from today, like Corey has said, we have achieved many things. It's all done in the past 2 years. Let me introduce to you. At first, we're trying to pass the benefit corporation law with the central government. We want to become the third countries that pass the beneficial law. It requires a lot of hard work, so we have worked with government, we have worked with companies, we need many people together to fulfill these goals. And the next one, we become the best city movement is now in Taipei, it's ongoing. It's not from this year to next year, 2007 and 2018, we expect to have more than 100 or 200 companies join the Best of City movement, and they will create like more than 50 certified B corporation next year. Oh, sorry, I have to say one thing. I got email says that I only can prepare 6 pages. So I only prepare 6 pages, so you guys don't worry. But I check each of them, they have more than 30, so I'll try to use my 10 minutes to finish this 6 page, okay? So be patient. I'm the last one. And here is the impact model, like you guys sitting here. Last year we have held the first forum in Taipei. We got 300 people attend. Now this year in Taichung more, we got 500. So you guys can wondering, thank you all. Please give your good hand. So maybe each guy, people, you guys sitting on the seat, next year, please bring one friend to attend the meeting, then we can attend 1,000, okay? And then now we work with Fengjia and National Taiwan University. We have a big academy. It is very important for Taiwan as a basic for students to understand the big concept. So please be staying here until tomorrow afternoon. And the last one, we got our own magazine. Like you can go to 7-Eleven, you can buy the B magazine. Okay, so I think that's all we have to work a lot with. We work with Taipei Exchange, we work with government, we work with local government. We spread a lot of news, like for everyone to come here today. And then next, so actually I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Kenny Chen. I'm an executive supervisor of B Lab, only because I'm a content. And now we already have 20 certified B corporation. 10 of them are O1. The Corey did this PowerPoint, so please don't be mad at me. 10 of them are O1 that's over 20 or 30 years, and another 10 is new companies. Like in Taiwan, the movement comes with many different small companies. Like I still remember 2 years ago, there's only, about last year, it's only 4 to 5 certified B Corps in Taiwan. The movement in Taiwan is gathering by many small enterprises, and now we are growing into a very big family. It's like the best thing I learned from Vico is like I can meet a lot of friends that we can each other, can communicate, we can work together. So and now, 110 companies already finished the BIM process.
So we are very positive. We estimate to have created 40 to 50 certified B Corp before this year end. And I'm putting this pressure to Corey. So I believe we will make it, and before this year end, we can have 40 to 50 people as a certified
I just
operation.
have an idea. So before we go for lunch, just take out your notebook. We'll finish the process, and then we'll let you go out to lunch.
Yeah, you guys must nobody leave this room. Okay? And we must do more, we need everyone. But as you can see, in the last 2 years, we come from only 4 companies become certified B Corp company to now today we have 20. We work with governments. We work with local governments, central governments. We work with people like you. We work with big companies, small company. We donate. I donate like half of my time into this B Corp movement. So no. I don't want a pause because I think the number is not enough. I'm an accountant. I'm in favor of a number. You guys know. But movement is the really thing we want to do. So please. In Taiwan people, like most people are here in Taiwan, you guys feel honored. I think that in this 2 years we do a lot of things, but we have to do more. It's not fast enough, as Corey says. The temperature, okay, as you can see, the environment, as you can see, we are only 20 companies against this all. So please join us. We need your help. Okay? I have another 2 PowerPoints left. So, can you give me my... Now I'm changing my executive supervisor into a JWCPS accountant. Okay? And now this one, first one. And yes, we are accountants. First, I would like to ask people from JW. You guys take 3 hours from today. You woke up at 5:30 in the morning today and take the car here. Please stand up. Everyone, please stand up. I think there's 30 or 40 of you. Please stand up. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And those are the senior partners and the founders. But I'm the best English speaker, so I can stay on stage. Okay. Okay. As you can see, we are an accounting firm. We do a lot of good things. Our employee turnover rate is lower than 5%. It's about 4 times lower than the normal companies in normal accounting firms. As you can see in the photos, it's a company tree photos. But you can see young people and elder people. Do you know why? Family, yes, you got it, it's family. Because today's employees are hard to please. So you cannot only bring them to a company trip, you have to bring their whole family. And that's what we did. We treat our employee like a family. When you got injured, when you got any accidents, don't leave the company. We are working as a whole. We have a lot of experience that we got employee got cancer. We help him, we support him, we introduce doctor, we use every resource we get. Yes, our chairman has a lot of resources at the hospital, so we use our whole effort to help her, and she is still here working. She's back, and she's pregnant, and get married and pregnant. So many little things happens in our firm like that because one thing, we are family. This is our firm, okay? And last PowerPoint, okay, a little bit. This is the 2 people that influenced me the most time of my life. The chairman got a little bit emotional, so the chairman, Wei Zhenqian, my father, the Sandy Shi, the vice chairman, my uncle, Yesterday, I asked them to write notes because I want to prepare a card. I asked notes saying, what's the most important things for you guys too? I text them separately, but they give almost the same answer. They say, the chairman say, there are always things to do in serving others in need. If you only think about things on yourself, when you got money, when you got success, you will stop, your life stop. But if you determine to help others, you can work until your death. And the work will still continue. So that's his idea. About the vice president, he said, become others' needs is the only reason he lived. That's the reason why I'm only 32 years old, but I already think I have to devote my life into social and the environmental change. So people, we are accountants. How do you guys think about accountants? Professional, smart,
6 pages of PowerPoint.
6 pages of PowerPoint, work with numbers, work with profit, we work with numbers every day. But actually, we, as a JWCPS, not only our founders, co-founders, every one of our partners live with this goal, not only me. So I am very lucky to have you guys work with me, and we will continue to work and become an influence of Taiwan. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Kenny. It's been an inspiration being with Kenny the last couple of years. Every time I have a few chances to go to their office, and I've always been amazed that I think they have four floor that's open to their staff. And then he took me around in their building. And every time we get to the next floor, there's always people looking up and saying hi to us. You know, so it's a very different culture. They're very people-centric, and that was something really amazing. In that I feel like they are taking care of me. The attention is nice. And a couple of weeks ago, me and Kenny we host our first event in Kaohsiung, and south part of Taiwan, and Kenny came up and shared about how they treat their employees, and it talks specifically about salary. So when they think about salary, they go from an approach that if this is my son or my daughter, would I give them that kind of money? So that was the standard that they look when they look at their own teams and employees. So thank you, Kenny, for such an inspiration talk, and it was a great learning experience for me, for my own corporation. Thank you. So I'd like to take this time to open up to the floor for you to ask questions to these people that they are operating as a business themselves, but they're also the movement driver. So please. The board's still not working.
Hi, this is Chen, Good Chen from Taiwan. Because I think most of my friends know I'm working for the social media crisis, and I'm just a very inspiration from the Kenny because I work for the CPA firms. I think most of them know, but only for your words. How do you convince your partners how to not only focus on the business, but also focus on your employee, even like their families? And the second question is, I like to the friends from Hong Kong. How do you convince your partners not only focus on the economic value, but also how to make a more social impact? These are the two questions. Thank you.
I go first? Okay. Because you speak a lot too. So
so it's very tough to convince clients to go for B Corp. We work with the channels, we work up, and then we believe we still have the Chinese DNA. When your boss say yes, you can never say no. So we work with the boss. We use the government's pressure to force us. But still very tough. Let's say the boss here say yes, and okay, tomorrow you meet my executive team, the COO, the CFO, the CXO, CIO, CTO, whatsoever. And then we pass, okay, COO say yes, marketing say yes, HR say yes, and the CFO say, okay, what is the return of investment? After doing the BIA, if you could provide me enough evidence globally and locally and historically, we'll go for it. And we say we'll talk to your boss again. No, we could not prove to them. It's one of the biggest challenges we're facing right now in the B Corp movement. We were engaging the former head of sustainability in the most luxury hotel called the Peninsula, and she is the B Corp consultant, and she was convincing us, saying, okay, I have experience renovating the whole Chicago Peninsula using the LED lights, and then the electricity was reduced 90%, 91 to be exact. And then they say a hotel as an industry that operates 24 hours, it's not about, yeah, we are cool, we're helping the world, we love the earth, but this is more profit. We save the cost, so be the change and make more money. And then they say, okay, we'll go for it. So at the end, it's the double bottom line. That we convince them that it's not a cool thing to do. It's the legitimate and a business decision that are rational and practical. Yeah, so this is the Hong Kong way.
Questions? I a little bit forgot a question. I tried to remind myself. Okay, how I can convince our chairman to do as a B corporation, right? And my partners. First of all, it's a little bit easier, and maybe for somebody it's harder because the chairman is a relative. Yeah. And for some people it's easier, for some people it's hard. But I tell you the way I do. 2 years ago, I finished the B Corp assessment all by myself, and we already scored a lot over like 80. And after that, I went to the partner meeting and said, wow, we become, the last 30 years you guys did just match what is B Corp, what is the movement of the world. Should we join them? We already passed the limit. We're just waiting for you to click the submit. So they say yes. And of course I have to do the rest of the job. And they say yes. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is because we are already B Corp. We already have B Corp spirit, like I think from the beginning of this company. So this is the two. And how I can, I want to answer the question for Taiwanese company because I went to help a lot of the Taiwan company to file the BIA assessments. He says that every people is different. Some people care about the scores. Some people care about the movement, or some people care about how people see them, or how people feel about them. So for different, like we say, for different boss, for different CEOs, we have to talk to them, and we can feel what he wants. I think even I'm a very rational people because I'm accountants. I got 2 accountants, American and Taiwan. I got 2 accountants. I'm very rational guys, but they are still some part of emotional part of their heart. I often say one thing is that if company owners knows they can do good things and make more money together, you don't have to choose. Like some of the CEO will think I make more money if I do more goods. I will make less money, just like Corey says, but that's not. I will give them our examples, how we can, our people don't have to work all the time, but we still profit companies. It can be done. So I use my own example to explain that.
My name is Spencer. I'm from Thailand. Thank you again for the panelists and all of your sharings. The reason I'm coming here is basically I want to see the B Corp movement in Asia, and I'm very impressed with all the people joining and trying to make good and make social change. I have questions in here. Again, thank you, Curry, in the sharing your understanding of B Corps in here. You mentioned about the importance of looking at communities and employees and etc. in the B Corp movement or model. I wondered why there's no mention about the supplier. The reason I'm asking this is I run a social enterprise in Thailand, focusing on small community farming, on the sustainable farming, organic farming in here. So while I'm still need to learn with the sensitive about the B Corp things and considering whether we should certify or move into this movement in here. So again, back to the whole thing, since I no doubt that B Corp will be a very successful label or marketing tool for many corporations, as with many good social movements like free trade and other things in here. But in terms of the primary industry, like agriculture in here, we are facing a very, I would say, very dangerous issues in here. What happened if, shall I say, Monsanto in terms of, like, say, GMO and other things, which in our industry is one of the most evil corporations, becomes a B corporation? What does that becomes of? What are the B Corps members are doing in terms of supporting their own agriculture industry into a more sustainable way? And I don't think I need to kind of explain or talk about, I can talk days about the difficulties with our farmers worldwide, the problem they're facing in terms of chemicals, in terms of the market pricings in here. We have people in the food industry, and no doubt that people in the food industry will know that one of the biggest costs in their food chain will be the suppliers. Are they willing to pay a bit more or premium so that the benefits not only be gained in the kind of like down the stream levels in here, but working with the farmers in terms of converting them into much more sustainable practices in here? I mean, the reason I'm asking is that, again, I believe that B Corp is a very strong movement into in here. And I'm still new in this where I need to learn a bit more in here. And what are the B Corp members and all things in terms of doing sustainabilities on the supplier side? And again, we know that the prime industry within Southeast Asia facing a very drastic issues. We have the biggest human trafficking issues. And human trafficking in case is brought by the evils for capitalism in here. And what can B Corps help work do in terms of making these social changes on a global scale? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think this is a very apt question because I've been in the food industry for about, well, my whole life. My parents, my family, we're fourth generation supermarket in New Zealand. My great-great-grandfather in the 1870s started a supermarket. And so I grew up with food and the whole supply chain. Stacking shelves as a kid and then pushing trolleys in the supermarket. I understand that world, and as I've gone on to do other food, I went food processing. My first time in China was cattle farming. We flew 300 cattle from New Zealand in a plane, and we flew from New Zealand to China, and we started an Angus beef lot. And now, obviously, in restaurants, we work every day with suppliers, whether it's packaging, whether it's food, whether it's construction. Every day we work with suppliers. And during our assessment, there actually is a very large part in the B Corp assessment on your supply chain. And with what you find with B Corp, I think that's getting very involved, and really effective about the B Corp certification is that they're getting more and more specific depending on your industry. And I suspect 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was about an overall accreditation with very generic questions. Now when you go into the assessment, you click, what industry are you? And I click food and beverage. All of the questions are now calibrated towards my industry. And so we actually had a very difficult time certifying, mainly because a lot of the questions are around supply chain. And how are you working with suppliers, and how do you know what their practices are? Because if I'm selling pizza, and I'm selling, if I'm selling Beijing duck on my pizza, how do I know where that duck came from? Right? Was it polluted? Was it raised ethically? Were the workers who raised that duck, were they treated fairly? Because that's the effect that B Corp, I believe, is trying to have. And so we found it very difficult to find this information out. And it was about 50% of our accreditation was around supply chain. And the problem is in China, there's no transparency. And when I started ringing up my suppliers, I'd be like, "Hey, 你好，我想问一下，你对员工怎么样？他的工资怎么样？" You know, it's like, 你找什么呢? It's like I was coming to find, and Chinese would say, I was coming to get hassled. So if I came and asked my suppliers about their transparency, straight away they're suspicious of me because I was trying to do something. Right? Was I working with a competitor? Was I trying to find an advantage? And so it became the hardest part of our whole journey was around the supply chain. And I had to really build trust with these guys and explain why we're doing this. And it was all about actually ensuring that we would now get a better price. Because we believe that having a B Corp gives us a premium in market. And coming back to Freddie's point, it's good for business. If we can hit those standards and we can say we're a B Corp, in China a big issue is food security and food safety. They don't trust the food in China. Right? Shipping anchen is like one of the biggest issues in China. And so by being a B Corp and being one of our suppliers, customers have faith in our produce. They believe it's a good company that's doing this. And so we now have suppliers who are hearing about this who want to work with us because it's starting to increase their perception about, and their reputation and market. And just one last example was our pizza boxes. We sell about 40,000 pizza boxes a month in our business. That's a lot of paper. And so I went to my purchasing manager and I said, look, we want to get recycled paper before we can actually develop a reusable pizza box. But right now we're trying to use recyclable. And so we went to our supplier and said, look, we're going to give you 2 years to work out how to give us a reusable pizza box where there's no waste. But for the next 2 years, you need to give us a recyclable product. Now I'm going to give you 2 months to work it out before I go elsewhere, because you're our old supplier. And he yelled and screamed, and you're crazy, and the price is going to go up, and all these reasons why it couldn't be done. But in a very Chinese, innovative, industrious way, within 3 days he had found the solution. Seriously, he had a solution, a budget, a quote, and it was from a sustainable source paper. He went out and he found it, he'd never heard of this stuff, and he found out the problem wasn't food grade, which it wasn't. We had to add another sheet of paper, which was food grade, etc., etc. 3 days he worked this problem out. Why? Because we now have enough buying power to create a little bit of change. And we look at companies like Unilever, Walmart, Danone, the amount of purchasing power they have, when these guys get on board, that's going to change the whole supply chain. More than probably any other movement could happen. It's got to be from consumer-driven, pull, not kind of demand push. So, yeah, that's kind of been our experience of it. But I think, good point. How does it flow down? But it definitely has got the power to do that, especially when it's done with large companies with really big buying power.
Thank you. Just one thing to add about it.
Thank you. So Freddie, you got about 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So that we can go for lunch.
One thing to add about the supplier is the American B Corp is forcing their suppliers to go for the BIA. And we got one client doing manufacturing in Hong Kong asking us for help to see how we can make a B Corp for them so they can continue supplying for the B Corp in the States. And they found me and my colleagues there, and we were asking them, is there any social and environmental goods that your factory is doing? And they say no. And how much we should invest to make it? And we say it's not about money, it's about the whole DNA of your company. that are you caring about your staff, the environment. So at the end, from bottom up and top down, the company are willing to change because of the purchasing powers in the States that force the Chinese manufacturer to change.
Thank you.
5 minutes, 5 minutes. We look forward for the second reason by Thailand. Right.
Thank you. So thank you guys very much. That was really insightful. And if you just stay with us for a little bit. So what we discovered, as we showed earlier this morning, it's about the movement. You see what's going on all around different places in the world. So there's a bottom-up movement, there's a top-down movement. There's a big company that's in the process of doing this, and it's a big company that's already finished this. And I think the momentum and the pressure are all coming together. And that's very meaningful to Asia, because us being an essential part of the supply chain, that's one thing. But same thing, we become a great market right now. So that our innovation is also very important to find ways to combine that with our product and service. And so we heard about the movement from this morning. This afternoon, we're going to hear about from the companies itself. So we're going to have public companies talking about why they become B Corp and what happened after they become a B Corp. And there's a company that's in the process of becoming B Corp and the ups and downs of journey that they went through. And also we're going to hear from the governance side, stock exchange side, as well as the financial market, how they view in terms of investment instead of supporting this movement. So we're going to have a break now, and I want to thank the panel again, and thank you for your time.